Hello and welcome to episode 4 of Stranger Radios. In this episode we have a look at another pair of classic Radioshack walkie-talkies from the 1980s. This time we take a very close look at the TRC-80. This budget radio was manufactured in Korea in 1980 for Radioshack, which was by then a division of Tandy Electronics. There were two versions sold at the time. The pair that I have, that are the Canadian version, have a power limited to 50 milliwatts. There was an American version which could put out a not too shabby 150 milliwatts on the AM band. The radios I have here are single channel and fixed on 27.125 MHz AM, alternately known as channel 14. As a kid back in the day, I would have loved a pair of radios like these. The pair I have got from eBay are basically new old stock. The boxes have seen better days, but the actual radios are unused and like new. These are by far the best conditioned vintage radios that I have. The TRC-80 was a more up-to-date radio in a number of ways. The control circuit implemented some clever tricks for the time, like an M511 audio IC to enable nice clean audio and a stable crystal controlled VFO circuit. As you can see, the radios are in jolly fine condition. The seller included two new 9V batteries. However, it's very important, if you do have vintage radios, don't ever keep the batteries in the radios when they are not being used. Even as they're shown here with a space for the batteries in the packing foam, keep the batteries in a leak-proof container elsewhere. They'll destroy the electronics if they leak. Radios feature a simple rolling volume on-off switch and a PTT button. To give you an idea of size, I've sat the ubiquitous UV5R next to them as a comparison. It wouldn't be Stranger Radios if we didn't lift the back of the unit to see what's inside, so let's have a look. Like I said, this just hasn't been used and it's like new inside. There are no signs of any capacitors leaking or any moisture or dirt ingress of any kind. The styling on the front of the casing really shrieks 1980s, rather than the 70s, which this radio just missed. You can see the Radioshack logo on the bottom right of the radio embossed into the moulding of the case. Let's have a listen to this lovely old AM walkie-talkie to see if it still works. 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 testing 1 2 3. Yeah, this one's working too. I decided to take the radio out for a walk and a test, with Debbie back inside the house. From my experience with lower power radios, this should be good for about 200 yards in a built-up area. In open space we might get a mile or so, but that's not technically legal for me to test because these sets are AM and I'm not technically allowed to use them. Right, let's see if we can get hold of Debbie. Hope this is going to work. Hello there, can you hear me alright? Yeah, I'll move a bit nearer. Right, hello there, can you hear me now? Okay, I'll just come down a little bit towards you, hang on. Okay, cheers. Right, I'll come back in now. Back to base to do a quick check to see if the radios are on frequency. And as you can see here, it's spot on. The radio could probably do with a bit of a tweak, but to be honest it's a 40-year-old radio that I can't legally use here, so there's not a lot of point. These pair of radios are a lovely example of where we were and all those years ago and how far we have come to this day. This proves my point, and although as many mention this isn't very scientific, it still shows what I mean. Here is a little Flurion PMR radio nudging the field strength meter with its 500 milliwatts of radiated power versus the 50 milliwatts of this 40-year-old radio. I hope that you have enjoyed this episode of Stranger Radios. I certainly love making these videos, and although they aren't my most popular videos on here, I hope you don't mind me dragging you back in time to look at them. I fell in love with these walkie-talkies as an impressionable kid way back in the 1970s, and I haven't stopped loving them. I am sure, like many fans of these sets who subsequently watched Stranger Things, it put a big smile on your face when you saw these radios appearing on the screen. I hope you can take the time to join me next time when we travel back to look at some more Stranger Radios. Thanks for watching.